The United States immigration system is currently experiencing a backlog of millions of unprocessed visas, work permits, green cards, and naturalization petitions as a result of the unprecedented increases in the number of applications, and the immense backlogs caused by pandemic are grinding U.S. immigration processes to a crawl.
Visit our Swat&Vee channel with your questions to see how best we can help you out with your process. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel.
Now, let's get into the video. Before we go further, let's hear about an immigrant who spent 16 years waiting for a green card that he hoped would lead to better opportunities for his 3 children than in India, as well as a chance to reunite with his siblings in California. In 2019, his petition finally arrived at the front of the line. He completed the paperwork and had reached the final step, scheduling an interview with the U.S. consulate in Mumbai. Processing estimates at the time showed his family could be approved by April 2020. Then came COVID-19. Applicant was 47 and healthy when he became infected. He died alone in a hospital 15 days later, on May 1, 2021, before the interview took place. His family needs support badly now and deserves a chance to immigrate, his sister M.E. Bonvadia wrote in a letter to the Department of Homeland Security shortly after his death. Families like my brother's have faced worst outcome of COVID and are victimized due to no fault of their own and are losing immigration benefit after lawfully waiting many years. It's been more than 3 decades since Congress overhauled the U.S. immigration system, which entails a patchwork of channels scattered across various federal agencies based on a person's country of origin, family ties, and profession. The Trump administration implemented time-consuming changes, longer application forms, requests for additional evidence, more scrutiny for renewals, that extended existing backlogs to unmanageable levels at every step. The system all but buckled under pandemic closures. Wait times are escalating despite the fact that policy is moving in the right direction, because policy is not moving as fast as increases in demand for these services, said David Beer, Associate Director of Immigration Studies at the Libertarian Cato Institute. There's no way to get control of these backlogs within just normal procedures, tweaks around the edges. Though delays are a hallmark of any bureaucratic process, in the context of immigration, the human cost can be profound. According to a Cato Institute analysis, 1.6 million persons sponsored by relatives for a green card will die before entering the U.S. legitimately. Since the pandemic began, USIS applications have climbed by a third, to 8.6 million in March. According to Syracuse University's Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse, immigration courts had 1.8 million pending cases, up 25% since the start of the fiscal year. The Department of Labor is processing 7-month-old applications for a prevailing wage determination, which determines the minimum compensation for sponsored green card recipients. The step, which used to take less than 2 months to complete, is supposed to ensure that U.S. citizens aren't passed over in favor of exploited foreign workers. But the delays are keeping employers from hiring employees needed to fill the national shortage of nearly 5 million workers. Labor Department spokeswoman Monica Vereen said requests for seasonal workers and other temporary roles have grown, but congressional appropriations haven't kept pace. As U.S. consulates reopened after pandemic closures, wait times for visa appointments skyrocketed. The State Department reported last month that nearly 410,000 immigrant visa applicants, whose cases are otherwise complete, still don't have an interview scheduled. That's compared with an average of 61,000 applicants who were in the same position in 2019. Wait times for visa interviews now vary widely among consulates, according to a Cato report last month. Tourists and business travelers wait 247 days on average, up from just 17 days before the pandemic. At the Santiago, Chile, consulate, the wait can take up to 886 days, 2.5 years. The latest annual report by the USIS Ombudsman noted that delays cause people to look for workarounds by applying for expedited or emergency requests, overwhelming the agency with calls. USCIS is almost entirely funded by applicant fees, though some petitions such as those for asylum are free. The agency hasn't raised its fees since 2016 and is operating with nearly 20% of positions unfilled. In an effort to address the issue, Congress appropriated $275 million this year to tackle backlogs and support refugee processing, in part by hiring more employees. USCIS Director Yor Jadu rolled back actions by the last administration, such as requiring additional visa interviews and biometric screenings from applicants who have already completed those steps. The agency also auto-extended some work permits, set backlog reduction goals, and hopes to implement completely electronic processing by 2026, including e-filing for all applications, accepting electronic payments at all locations, and issuing correspondence digitally. Just 17 of 102 benefits are currently available through e-filing. During an online presentation in May, Jadu said nearly two-thirds of pending applications can't be completed within the target timeframe, an amount that peaked in January at 5.3 million cases. We are pulling out all the stops wherever we can. And I know it's frustrating, but it is honestly frustrating for us to figure out how to do that, she said. We're going to do the best that we can. Among those eligible for permanent residency, usually through sponsorship from a family member or employer, backlogs have become extremely lengthy for people from countries including India, China, Mexico, and the Philippines. That's because the U.S. allows only up to 7% of the green cards granted each year to go to people from any given country. Congress authorizes as many as 675,000 green cards each year, most of them reserved for family members of U.S. citizens or residents. The law allows any family-sponsored green cards not assigned in 1 year to roll into the employment category the next year before they are declared invalid. Last fiscal year, the federal government failed to issue nearly 67,000 available green cards before they expired September 30th. Both chambers of Congress have introduced legislation that would reduce the green card backlog. Senator Kevin Cramer, RND, and John Hickenlooper, Democrat Colorado, introduced the EAGLE Act on July 20th, which would phase out caps for employer-sponsored green cards and raise the per-country limit for family-sponsored green cards. Other proposals include reclaiming unused green cards and exempting immigrants with advanced STEM degrees from country caps. The State Department proposed raising fees for certain visas and has also waived some consular interviews, though many still require an appointment just to drop off paperwork. Immigrant visa processing is down 23% from its peak in July 2021, agency figures show. After pandemic restrictions eased, the Biden administration expanded humanitarian programs for immigrants displaced by war and political upheaval. USCIS processed work authorizations for more than 70,000 Afghans evacuated last year as the Taliban took control of the country. Nearly 50,000 others who are stuck overseas applied for lawful entry under humanitarian parole. The agency, which typically receives 2,000 humanitarian parole requests yearly, has yet to process most of those applications. Then President Biden agreed to help Ukrainians displaced by the war with Russia. USCIS established a special parole program for Ukrainians in April and within 3 months had approved nearly 70,000 requests. Unlike Afghans, Ukrainians don't have to pay a fee and are not interviewed before their arrival. More than 70,000 others have arrived on visas or were admitted through the US-Mexico border.
I hope you guys found this video extremely helpful. If you know anybody that could benefit from this information, definitely make sure to share this video with them. We are all about empowering you with knowledge. So the more people that can benefit from this video, the more people we want watching this video. If you like this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs icon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit on the notification bell for more immigration updates. Bye!